Welcome, everyone to the Radical Roots podcast, where we dig deep to reach high. I am your co-host, Payron Baxter, and of course, as always, progress through action.
And I'm your co-host Ram Sandoval. How y'all doing?
It is a good Sunday, a holiday weekend, so folks probably have another day off, which is probably really good. Folks, we are coming to you live from North Carolina, and yeah, we are going to take you on a journey today. We're going to talk about, of course, it's the fifth year anniversary of the killing of George Floyd, and kind of where we go from here. What did we learn? Did those black squares really matter? Or did those black people really matter? I guess is the bigger question. With something locally, talking about some organizing in Monroe that we've been doing with our immigrant community and building coalitions there and the next steps and how to make that more expansive. And what we're looking for, even here at the Radical Roots, trying to get folks involved in their local city councils and school boards and reaching out and doing their own kind of man on the street situation. Then, of course, the national news, we're going to talk about the disastrous White House meeting with South African President Ramaphosa and Trump in the Oval Office. And, of course, Harvard versus Trump and them trying to stop Harvard from admitting international students and defending academic freedom. And then, of course, the FEMA disaster, where Trump said North Carolina, no mas when it comes to that dinero. And then, of course, we'll end on a even more ridiculous, but yet I think you got to laugh to keep from crying. A funny note, but the Trump crypto dinner with his masked singers who are walking in, looking like the most ridiculous boy band you've ever seen in your life. So that's what we'll be touching on today's episode of the Radical News Podcast. Welcome.
Welcome everyone. Thank you. So how was your weekend thus far? It's on that we got a long weekend.
It was good. My son turned 10, and we'll hopefully tee a little special thing up there. But he turned 10 years old, double digits. I remember when we had him, I didn't have any of this hair, or probably any of these wrinkles that you see right there when I do that with my eyebrows. And it was good, because I remember when I was 10 years old and like kind of like the shit that I was into, and like you're no longer into toys anymore, but you're into like the more cool stuff on MTV, dating myself, or like the Power Rangers, whatever the case, more like physical stuff. So that was pretty cool. And we had a really big party. Did like this big water slide, took him to the pool, and my daughter got involved. She's trying to like hang with the 10-year-olds. She's 3 years old. Like I want to get on the big slide, but no, it didn't really work out. But yeah, so that's what we did. Yeah, so it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. What about you?
we kept it pretty chill. Friday, just went and got some ice cream at Brewster's down the street, and hung out with
Ooh,
the
what'd you get?
with the girls. I get the brownie sundae.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a,
frozen
that, that's a
ice. Get
real
that.
dad ice cream, brownie sundae. That's a
Yeah.
real dad meal there. See, I'm real like fancy with it, or I'm real like spicy. I'm gonna get a Heath Toffee milkshake. See, I bet you weren't expecting your boy likes a Heath Toffee milkshake, did you?
No, I would
So
not. I would say that's super old school. That's like Werther's on your.
right.
That's like
Well, I
Werther's
mean, it's
off.
not like it's a Werther's original,
It might as well be little strawberry candies off the dresser. Um, but
right? Those church candies.
yeah, that's what that reminds me of. Yeah, no, but it's been pretty chill. It was kind of got some projects done in the house. My wife has done an excellent job with her one of her projects for our youngest her room and her birthday. So it came together really nice. I think batten board is called board and batten wall. So it looks really nice and helped her out a little bit with that, but that was mostly her project. But
All
yeah,
right. Well, with that, I do want to bring in our 10-year-old correspondent to just kind of see what's going on with the young folks out there. You want to sit down right here for us, my guy?
what
We have
up?
our 10-year-old news correspondent, and I kind of want to see what's going on in the streets. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure.
And happy
My
birthday.
name, thank you. My name is Ethan Baxter, 10 years old, born May 23rd, 2015.
Nice. All right, now the government knows exactly where you are. Well, cool. So, just a few minutes here, man. What what are the kids talking about, man? What's going on? You just talk. You don't gotta hold it.
Uh, be honest.
What's the hot topics?
Like what's like the main. I don't like tell me what you mean. Like
This is
what's the main thing they
come on,
talk about?
you're on the spotlight, brother.
The main thing they talk about?
What are I mean? Are the kids talking about Donald Trump? Are the kids talking about what's going on politically? Andrew Tate? Do you know who that is? Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's
That's got to be.
good.
That's
You're
it's
doing
got to be
good. You're
good.
doing a good father.
What about Charlie Kirk? Do you guys? Because Gavin Newsom's son said he loves Charlie Kirk and he's 13. Says only 3 years old. Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay, good. All right, all right. Well, you're not really offering much for our Sunday interview, but it's okay. It's
What's
all
the
right.
what music you listening to?
Well, yeah. What's the hot music right now that the 10-year-olds listen to? What are they banging?
Hip hop.
Okay, that's a genre.
Yeah.
But like, what
Type
is
of music.
is there
From
a type of artist?
like not Nas, too like
Nas.
I'm kidding. I'm trying to get it out of him.
Who is it? E?
Kendrick.
Kendrick.
Okay,
Okay.
all
Okay.
right,
Okay. Which Kendrick song do you like?
Luther.
Luther. Oh, this is a
okay.
slow.
See, he's old school, man.
Hey, okay. Well, watch this. Well,
Get him
watch
a
this.
Werther's. Get him a Werther's.
Well, watch this. Do you know who Luther Vandross is? See, these
Ooh,
kids don't know nothing. These kids don't know
okay.
nothing. All right.
It's all right.
What are the 10-year-olds watching? What are they watching right now?
What are they watching?
What are the kids in school talking about? What are they watching?
Some kids watch One Piece.
Some kids. Are you some kids?
I'm one of
You're
those
one
many
of the
kids.
It's an anime. It's an anime he's watching. Okay. All right.
Kids watch anime too.
What okay, then last we'll finish up here. What's some of the slang these young kids are using? I've heard something about a skibbity. It's something about has to do with the toilet. What does that mean?
Skibidi toilet. Yeah, it's like a guy's head inside a toilet.
Highbrow comedy, folks. Highbrow comedy. And so when do you use this? Are you like, oh man, I stubbed my toe. Skibbity toilet.
No, it's just no. You don't just like you don't. It's not like you just get punched and like oh skibidi toilet. You don't do this.
So okay, when do you use
You
it?
don't use it. It's just like it's like it's like saying oh Gilsmerch for
Oh, what?
let's
Gil- Gildersmerch. I'm too old. I'm too
We're
old. Okay.
you're
All
making me.
right.
You just made me feel old.
S- All right. All right. And is there anything that you think us older people need to be thinking about for young people, or what concerns you as a 10-year-old young man? What concerns you that you see what's going on that you want us older people to be maybe focusing on? Palestine, Israel. Okay. Okay. Why?
People make jokes out of it.
They make kids make jokes about it at school? What do they say?
Okay, it's another type of slang word.
A slang word about Palestine, Israel. Do you know about this, Ron?
Really?
Oh, there we go.
They call it Bacro Bacrodino Crocodino.
Bacodino crocodino. These kids, it sounds like it's some other language at this point. Okay, and Italian brain rot, I guess. Well, that sounds racist within itself. So what does that mean?
Like it's like so now it's giving you toys just brain rot.
I don't even know what brain rot is. Okay. All right, let's wrap this up here. So, okay, so they're making fun of Palestinian kids. Do you say anything about this when kids are making fun of Palestinian kids dying? What do you say?
Ralph says, "Hey, thing. Okay, so let me start this over again.
Okay. So you say they're making fun. They say this stuff. What do you say? You're like, hey,
Okay, stop making fun of these people because they're dying and
yeah,
they're gonna have to eat grass.
or they are eating grass.
Mm.
Okay, all right.
And what if that was you out there and there's some other kid laughing at you because you're eating grass and you're about to die?
All right. All right. All right. Well, our correspondent Ethan, who just turned 10, thank you for joining us today. And we'll hope to have you back on with more news that's happening in the 10-year-old space. Rom, any other questions or a send off?
I have no
Oh,
other questions.
dabbing on him.
Just happy birthday again, little man.
Dabbing on him. All right, brother. Thanks, man. You did great. All right, man.
Peace. Oh
All
wow, that's
right,
wild.
that was our 10-year-old on the street
It's
correspondent, Ethan.
it's interesting hearing from 10-year-old. You know, I think put him on the spot a little bit.
They'll be all
uh,
right.
yeah, but listen to Kendrick. He halfway knows Luther. But yeah, what he said, I can't remember. I can't even remember what he said about the slur, the slang around Palestine and Israel. But I remember when I was a kid. It was peace to the Middle East was the
That's all
thing.
I knew.
I don't remember anything more vile than that. I don't think you know.
Well, I
I
would
don't know.
think our African brothers and sisters. I remember them. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Oh, my audio's
You
not
can't
good.
hear us, but
I can't hear you.
okay, good.
But I remember that the African booty scratcher was
Mm-hmm.
a slur for our African brothers and sisters. Because I remember I was talking to a guy. He's a dentist now, and he's like, "Yeah, that shit traumatized me." So you know, there's this language I think is very important for us to tap in with our children. I remember there was someone back when I was Democratic Party chair, a white woman telling me that, Payron, all the kids say the N word. And mind you, their kids go to a predominantly all white school. So, it's
Uh,
good to check in and say, okay, well, what do you say when you hear
yeah.
that? It's something like, well, they all say it.
Yeah, well, at least it is. I'll say it. I think it's a lot of time it can be intimidating to speak up and find your voice, especially at that age.
Yeah.
Intimidating. A lot of the majority around you or the people are the ones who saying it. And I think the best you can hope at the very least is that they don't join into that mob mentality, right? And then
Right.
try to empower them and give them the knowledge that they need to know that this is wrong, even if they don't say it out loud. They know it inside, deep down inside, and then eventually they build up their muscle to get their voice. And it was hard as a kid.
Well,
I remember that part.
yeah, and I
Like,
and I think I think too, it's like it's the whole idea when people say that, oh, the kids will save us. And I think it's very important that you have to demonstrate what leadership looks like and being strong looks like because that's not natural, as you just laid it out. And I was the same way as a kid. It kind of what the kids say, you don't want to be the odd man out. You don't want to be the person who's like, don't push the nerd, or you might be the nerd and all that stuff. But like, I'm very proud of my son. Of course, I'm a little bit biased here, but for him, and he said he's told us a story a few times about what he says. But
mm. Yeah,
anyway, so
my
that is
wife
our.
my wife also went through the. She told me about her and her brother and sister. I think they African booty scratchers because their last name, and
Yep.
we go through it. We go through a lot as kids, but the best, that you hope is that they learn through it, and the kids around him hopefully learn from Ethan, and they grow up and mature, and hopefully have good role models in their life, and in school and at home. But a lot of it is learned at
Right.
home. So,
Bingo. Bingo. Hence the everybody says the N word. Okay.
yep.
Okay. What? Excuse me. Excuse me. All right. Moving on to our first topic. Top of the show, folks. I do want to at least touch base on the 5th year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin. Um, I remember where I was when I heard about it. I actually didn't watch the video until the trial. That's how long it took for me to watch the actual video of Derek Chauvin's knee on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. It was a moment in time. A moment in time. George Floyd, if you guys remember, it was in Minneapolis, uh, supposedly paying with a fake $20 bill, and that ended up being a death sentence for this brother. We saw how racism becomes manifest and is used in the legal system and the law enforcement system against us as Black people. Again, a people who are the descendants of captured people, who are the only people in this country who did not ask to be here. Um, and it was a watershed moment. We thought there was going to be a racial reckoning, but the reckoning didn't reckon the way it was supposed to be reckoning, if you will. So yeah, where were you at when you heard about George Floyd, Ron?
I don't know where I was at. I do remember. I think I actually found out about it early on. Before it hit mainstream. So I think I was kind of the one, spreading the word type of thing. Um, and it really is hard to remember that time period. But I think the hardest part about these things is one of the hardest parts is seeing the reactions and the defense of Derek Chauvin and justifying, putting a knee on somebody's neck and killing them slowly as they cry out, with
for
people
their
with
mother.
people watching and the cops standing back. I think the defense of that is one of the hardest things to know, that people excuse that type of behavior, that they don't think that there should be any accountability, that he deserved it. um I so for me that's one of the hardest things to deal with. But I think, like I said, we mentioned on the show before, ever since Trayvon Martin, my worldview changed, right? So I understand,
Right.
I know those things coming. I'm not naive. But that's unfortunate, right? So that's
And I think, as we talked about a few seconds ago about the young people and being strong and standing up, if it wasn't for, I think she was 16-year-old Danella Frazier pulling out her cell phone to record that,
mhm.
when the cops were like, get the F back and put your phones away, don't record. And she had the wherewithal to pull her phone out and stand there for almost 10 minutes recording. I mean, she didn't know probably what that was going to happen. She probably, in her mind, her young teenage mind, is probably like, this is going to be, this probably always happens, because I've heard cops kill people, but she probably didn't realize that video was going to be in a time capsule of racial conversation in this country and the world. It was a global movement, right? As my son talked about Israel Palestine, in Gaza, on the walls in Gaza, they had murals to George Floyd, right? Because our struggles are interconnected. But it's just this idea that, yes, you could see such overt, raw, violent power against someone that was not a threat to the officer or officers, because remember, there was 4 officers standing around watching this.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the youth always have this core that is not rotten in them yet. I mean,
Mhm.
some of those kids who are saying, that shit that Ethan was talking about, as you say, is a learned behavior. But whoever is the parents of Miss Frazier, they probably taught her that when you see something, say something. When you see something, record something, and that is now crystallized in the minds of so many people across the world.
Yeah, and and we talked a little bit about this before too. But that camera person has a role, right? People say, "Well, why are you recording?" Well, what do you? I mean, what was not necessarily her, but in situations like these, and say, "Well, what do you expect her to do? Like stop the cop, kick the cop? Like what do And that's not in everybody's like DNA. They're not built to physically fight somebody, but recording a video, documenting this, helping make sure there's going to be accountability, actually try to help make sure somebody's going to remain safe, again, regardless of what they've done or didn't do. You have no idea, right? And to have that, so that's powerful. That's a powerful thing that people can do, right? Is to record these situations, especially especially now. And you would think that being recorded, that you would have some, I don't know, self restraint or something. Um, but unfortunately, that was not the case. So,
I remember the moment too, around in that kind of what was in the atmosphere at the time. I remember my boss was like, he's because he was in Minnesota, that's where he lives, and in Minneapolis, or right outside of Minneapolis, right outside of the Twin Cities. And he said that he's a white guy, but he said that, I'll never forget it. He said that he had his wife kneel on his neck to see if that actually. I mean, he didn't really end his sentence. I'll never forget it. He said, I had my wife kneel on my neck, and I was like, imagine, this is like fever pitch black people being pissed off in America. I'm sure you remember, right? And I remember him talking on the phone, because I'm not in Minneapolis, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm still alive." And what he's really saying there is, Derek Chauvin didn't kill George Floyd, because my wife kneeled on my neck, which is a completely ridiculous thing to ask someone to do in general. Like, hey, can you try to kill me? Like, when black people get shot, you're not like, hey, shoot me real quick.
yeah.
I want to see. I want to see if I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna see if the bullets are hot. But he said this to me. But this is the lack of self awareness that
Yeah,
the
lack of
vast
self
majority of white
awareness,
people have.
ignorance, and yeah, and that's stupid to begin with. But a woman versus a man that's anyways, I'm not like that's absolutely insane that somebody would
I
actually
mean,
say
I don't
that
give a
like
fuck
that.
who. I wouldn't want my.
The fact that you would even say that out loud to like a black person is
I mean, it was
absolutely
wild as
ridiculous.
shit.
But
It's like I wouldn't ask Ethan to kneel on my neck, and he's 10. Like hell no. Like dude, get the fuck away from my fucking neck, man. Hell no.
right.
But that is, when you're always trying to disprove black trauma and black violence, it becomes a sport. It becomes part of
Yeah.
a conversation that is then when it gets normalized, then it gets institutionalized. This is
Right.
where we're trying to fight against
It's,
police misconduct. So where are we now? Five
uh,
years later, I remember June 20th, 2020, everybody did the black squares, right? So like, what does black squares mean now, right? We're rolling back all the programs. Trump himself, they're taking away the what was it the consent decrees for the I forget was it I know it's Breonna Taylor and I forget the other case, but they're trying to roll back the consent decrees that were put on those municipalities because they wanted to make sure that there was patterns and practices that was clearly negatively impacting disproportionately the black, brown, and indigenous communities. But of course, under this, DUI, DEI, their version didn't earn it president. It's let's get rid of all that shit. So where are we now, Ron? What do you think?
well, I pulled up. Target. Target was kind of the first. If you recall, I think a Target caught fire during these protests, which in Minnesota turned into a little bit of, I guess, rioting, right? And so, but they Target was one of the first to respond, being headquartered out of Minnesota. As this says, they committed to doing more about racial equity and diversity. They had these,
Look at
this
that.
was
Whew.
sparking these DEI initiatives.
Target was like,
Um,
we got. They was like, we got him. We got him, baby. We got him.
But and then like I remember businesses were coming out with the Black Lives Matter hashtag, and it was just like it was the marketing to move right. And then
That McDonald's commercial was extra. But I was like, da 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 da. I'm loving it, niggas. It was great.
but as we saw in the past, 6-7 months, that
Right.
turns on they give that up. There's really no commitment. A lot of these companies created DI. Not I like I said, I don't think a lot of the companies were doing it right. They weren't committed. I think Target actually was doing it right in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, they capitulated,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they're continue to pay the price.
I think.
Um,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, so see a Target stock over the past year, and you see it right.
Look at that.
So
It's like a hockey
you
stick.
know a lot of it was, you can tell this is reactions, right? Like initial reactions to the news.
Yep.
And then what you see here is basically from February
Good
to
God.
the end of May, is the actual quarter. Uh, uh, so the protest started on February. Target does,
28th. Yeah, I remember.
yeah, Target does. They just did their earnings last week, so that earnings period was from February to May, meaning that's the first time that we've got the full picture within the period of the protest. So it wasn't just a day to day reaction, but
Right.
actually here's our revenue, here's our outlook for the next year. So that's all down. So they, I think even from a business perspective, not even just ethical perspective, Target has miscalculated. They've not understood their consumers. They have no backbone, and I haven't shopped at Target since
Nope, me neither.
February 1st or
Me
whatever,
neither.
January, and don't plan to. And that's unfortunate because I love Target. Like, so they've lost a lot. A lot of people love Target.
Yeah, I think
They've lost a
I
lot of
think I
customers.
think they were down, if I'm not mistaken, 8 million in foot traffic, and Costco was up 13 million in foot traffic.
Hmm.
I mean, our family we didn't have a Costco card. We went and got one, and when I think I told a story on this show when we went there, the line, I thought it was the line to get in. It was the line to get your card because you had to pre-order it or pre-set it up or whatever. So I was like, oh, those people, they must have not pre-set it up. I said, hey, I've already set mine up. Where do I got to go? They said, that's the line.
Hmm.
That's where you got to get your damn car.
Yeah.
So like, just to touch on Target one more time,
Mhm.
yes. After that, the reaction was quite bombastic. I think they were making a lot of splashes out there. But there's something we need to read into this a little bit deeper. When you react out of fear, whether it be on the front end, with which they started to do all this DEI stuff, you're also going to react out of fear on the back end when it's Trump.
Mhm.
And that's what we're saying. That they reacted out of fear when it was their target burned down. And then they kind of got the mask pulled off that we didn't want to do any of this shit anyway. And then they reacted out of fear of this executive orders that have no executing qualities to them. There's no teeth to them. They still chose to react as if out of fear, and they suffered. And I have no plans on going back. So
Yeah. So
I'm good.
yeah, so I bring up Target because to me it sticks in my mind of like that was very much connected. It was very much connected to a lot of the DEI stuff, and it's just it's when you say where are we today,
Yeah,
that's
right.
kind of where we always been, right? There's really no commitments, and we're going uh,
Backwards.
backwards, but are we really? I mean, that was what they were doing back in the 50s. I mean, it was just being done out in the open as well back then, right? So, um, you know, and we'll talk a little bit about Harvard and Trump and them standing up to,
Yep.
to Trump, and
It's
we'll
all the
see
same.
if it's all the same. But
But either way, 5-year anniversary of George Floyd, rest in power, brother. You do not deserve to die. You do not deserve to die if you're not threatening anyone's life. You do not deserve to die at the hands of the state. That is what we're talking about. We are not talking about interpersonal violence, me versus Ron, Ron versus me. We are not talking about that. We are talking about a system. We are talking about people who are getting paid and getting off and using lawyers and judges and their commissioners and their unions to get them off of murder, right? This is what we're talking about. We are not talking about, oh, I stab you, you stab me. So when folks are like, oh, you guys kill each other, that's even if I accept that premise that it's me killing someone else, that doesn't mean that I'm going to allow the state to kill me if I provide no threat to them, to the officer. But that is what we is become institutionalized and put into our minds. So again, rest in power. Yeah, and we're gonna keep fighting the good fight. We're not gonna forget his name. We're not gonna forget Breonna Taylor. We're not gonna forget Ahmaud Arbery. We're not gonna forget Dante Wright, who was killed during the George Floyd, the Derek Chauvin trial, because it was not the George Floyd trial. He was not on trial. It was Derek Chauvin. So again, we cannot forget the folks that are still killed. And we've actually seen an increase. Last thing I'll say, we've seen an increase since 2020 in police murders of black people. So yeah, we're not gonna forget that because these institutions that were born out of slavery, the slave patrol started in 1704 in Providence, Carolina, which is North Carolina, which was the slave patrol to catch us. So that was the whole point, was to capture these captives. These were not human beings. And as Frederick Douglass said, you ain't got no laws to stop chickens and cows from running away, but you got laws to stop me from running away because you know I'm a human. So
yeah,
anyway,
so
moving on.
yeah, so real quick, so this week we launched the Radical Roots City Correspondents. What we're looking for is basically people in Union County, all the cities in Union County and South Mecklenburg, so like
South
Charlotte
Shaw.
and Matthews, to
Or
help.
honestly, you know what? You probably make it. We'll talk about this later, but we probably could make it bigger than that. Because like folks around North Carolina are saying, "Hey, can you amplify what's happening in Raleigh?" And they went and talked.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. I mean, we when we started this podcast, we thought that maybe it would be a blueprint, right, from a local perspective. Talking local, state, national, and we always knew we wanted to do progress through action. And one of the things that is catching a lot of steam within the community for people speaking at these town halls, these council meetings, school board meetings, and then I've been posting them, and they've been getting a lot of interaction, feedback, and it's being amplified. So the voice of not only myself, but some of the youth, people from Monroe High School, some of the parents, other people in the community have been speaking, and really also summarizing what's happening at these school board meetings. Oh, there was a $300,000 increase on the Chromebooks thanks to Trump's tariffs.
Oh,
The
sweet.
school things like that, and what's going on with ICE and the non-action within the school board, the Union County School Board, so things like that. So we want to continue that all across the county, and you and I can't be at every city at once, but in in Union there's multiple towns and villages and cities, and if you're in one of these areas, please reach out to us. If you want to either attend, if you want to speak, if you want to watch on YouTube and kind of summarize, identify the key points, and I'll also give you tools to make it easier, and to whether you want to just report it to us and pass it on, or if you actually want to create clips and create clips of yourself reporting it. We're exploring all that, right? And we've gotten some positive feedback thus far, and we'll hope that this continues to be something that has legs, and we're giving it a shot.
Yeah. That's great, and as we get folks to get more involved, I always say there's three keys to organizing, right? It's agitation, education, and mobilizing, right? I think our show does the first two really well. We agitate, we educate, because we get you pissed off about shit. We talk about things that we even if we don't piss you off, we talk about what you're already pissed off about usually, right? Because most folks aren't paying attention locally, but they may be paying attention to the statewide or even federally. So we want to agitate you, right? Because if you think about how you clean clothes, it's not soap that cleans the clothes, it's the agitation, it's the friction. That's what actually gets that dirt up off there. The soap then cleans up underneath it, right? So agitate, the education is the soap. The mobilization is how you actually end up putting in the dry. I don't know. I can't land that plane on that analogy, folks. But you get my point, right? We want to agitate, educate, and then mobilize. So we want to get folks to get more involved. And it's a beautiful thing. In fact, I'm going to share just a quick. Someone sent us an email after our Malcolm X episode. She's here locally, and she said that she grew up. She's a white woman, grew up in a sounds like a somewhat conservative home. That again, ultimately, as we're all of us are awash of white supremacy. Again, I say it all the time. All of us have to unlearn that. And she said that she always thought that Malcolm was this kind of a villain of the civil rights movement. But as we kind of gave him a human shape and character, and gave him life and breathed and let his own words speak for himself. I want everybody registered to vote. I think that's a very powerful clip that people have never heard from his most one of the most famous speeches in American history. I think the seventh most famous speech in all of American history, according to I believe Pew, where he says he wants everybody to register to vote. Um, that is something that you've never heard David Duke say. That's something you never heard Donald Trump say. That's something you never heard uh, these folks out there who are Constitution banging, patriots, if you will. So it really helped open her eyes up, right? It's that educational piece, and that really kind of made me feel a little emotional. You know what I'm saying? Got a brother a little teary eyed, and I got a little
Hmm.
misty, But yeah, because it shows that we're impacting people that they feel like they're alone, especially county like Union County or even a state like North Carolina that is purple, that we feel like there's this General Assembly that is taking power. It's like we feel like you're alone, but you're not. There's this, I call it collective ignorance, where people feel like, well, I'm by myself, so there's no one else around this progressive. That's not true. That's not true. There are a lot of people that are regressive. I don't call them conservatives because the opposite of progress is not conservative. The opposite of progress is regress. They are regressives, and they want to go backwards, and they're willing to kill themselves to do so. And kill themselves not necessarily by a bullet, but kill themselves through being sick, kill themselves through not getting treatments, kill themselves through not being educated, killing themselves through, all the internecine things within the society that we need because we need each other as people. So that really touched me. And I'm glad that people are tuning in. I'm glad that people are having positive reactions. And of course, we're gonna always get some trolls. That one guy that was like, "Go back to your
Yeah.
country." I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like, dude, what country do we come from? I don't
Yeah.
even know because look at this. Both my parents are brown skinned. That means someone down the line got raped. Okay, so
Yeah.
don't get it twisted, brother.
I,
But yeah, so let's go
I,
ahead, Ron. Sorry.
yeah, no, I think and I think it's good that white people are getting comfortable, or have it's a wide range, but some
Yeah,
folks are getting comfortable hearing or hearing us speaking about race, getting comfortable speaking about race, not being afraid of it, right?
yeah.
And to say, I think a lot of folks, feel some at first, and I know you said you've been kind of preaching in Union County for the past 2 years. And for me, I'm like, man, it should be crystal clear now that where we're at now. It's like, damn, like if you were listening to Payron for the past 2 years, I think, or at least more comfortable listening to Payron, then it would have been a lot easier to help know what you were fighting and fight earlier. And I think my motto is if it doesn't apply, let it fly, right? Because
If it don't apply,
we're not talking
let it
about
fly.
like all white people. We're not talking about, but
No,
if we sat here and said some white people, I feel like it would absolve people because even on the liberal
right,
side, the left side,
right.
there's
No
things that
question.
like you might not even realize. It might not be malicious. It might just be about
Yes.
ignorance, and that could
Again, it's in all of us.
and that
That's
could
the thing. It's in all of
exactly
us.
it can go for us too, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
but yeah, so I appreciate the people that are listening and willing to hear our perspective and kind of opening their minds and opening their hearts. And I think that's this coalition is really the way that we're going to get through all of this, and it's going to require all of us.
And
Speaking
we're
of.
growing.
Mhm.
We're growing. So I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, we're growing. So speaking of which, another thing in Monroe, Monroe, North Carolina, which is in Union County, where I've spent time going to these meetings at the city council. The mayor is a MAGA mayor, but you and I
That
are
MAGA mayor.
are working to build a coalition. Over the past couple of weeks, we spent a lot of time talking to community leaders, activists, um, Monroe for Immigrants organization, Change from
Yes,
Monroe, all
yes.
kinds of the Democratic Party, PSL. Like we're working on building something big, and I don't think quite ready to share exactly what it is. But if you want to get involved, if it sounds good to you, even if you're in Union County, North Monroe is the target for 2025. It is the best
Yep.
opportunity to gain some sort of power within the Democratic side, the non-MAGA, non-regressive side, and so we're excited about that and what we're building. And yeah,
We have a shared enemy in Monroe, folks. Robert Burns, the mayor, must go. I don't care who's hearing me right now. I don't care if you are Republican, Democrat, unaffiliated. This man is literally a cancer to the body politic. We must do all that we can to oust him from power, because he is allowing Monroe to become the petri dish, right? The test case, the laboratory of autocracy, as they say in these counties like this, right? He is the progenitor of these type of things, right? So we have to make sure that we are amassing a large political backlash to these type of people and not just say, oh, it's politics as usual, because it is not. This is someone who does not want anything. I try to remind people Republicans don't actually want anything.
right.
When you have no demands, then you catch the car. You're kind of like, oh, all I know how to do is take away from people. I got here through hate, so I'm going to use this hate to take away from those people. I don't know how to help your life get any better, so all I know how to do is take that from those people. Stop those people from voting. Stop those people from living. Stop those people from having health care. Stop those people from having gender affirming care. So that's what he is. He's one of those people. He's extremely radical, but in the bad way. I think when we had our interview with Supreme Court Justice Anita Earls, he was live, like real time, posting pictures of us and calling us like left wing lunatics. I'm like, this is literally a Supreme
Extremist
Court just extremist.
and her
We don't even have
racist.
a Supreme, right. Right. She's talking about her being a civil rights attorney, her being mixed race and trying to. I mean, come on.
She was saying what did the thing she was saying, and to this point, she was saying that if you're in a community that's diverse or such and such has this kind of demographics, but
Yep.
yet these are all the people with all the jobs and all the power, then there's something wrong, and we should fix that. You would think that
Right.
they said that.
How dare
You
her?
would think that
How
she
dare
said
her?
that we should pull them out, kill them, put them on a stake, and replace them.
He would like
And
that.
that's
He would
that's
like
not
that.
that's and so what they hear, they will hear what they want to hear, right? So one of the
Hmm.
things in Monroe is that there is a large lack of Hispanic representation. I don't think
Correct.
there's really none. I mean, there might be, some, but within the Monroe City Council,
In this
there's
era,
none.
and in this era of like this fear and this inability to kind of get, there's a will that people are not willing to get involved because we've seen what's going on across the country. We're seeing Monroe, Mayor Coinflip, as we like to call him. He's, or bootlicker Burns. That's what I like to call him because he's a Trump bootlicker. He likes to say that, oh, we are not a sanctuary city. So if you are a Latino or Hispanic, even if you are a citizen, there is this fear that this person, he would throw you under the bus
Yeah,
even if you're a citizen. So
yeah.
I think that's also adding to it in this moment. So I just wanted to just kind of add that.
Yeah, and Monroe's 30% Hispanic, and
Come on, come on.
he wanted to have a proclamation, a position statement, official position statement saying we back the ICE, and we're going to do this and da 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 da. But failed to acknowledge what's actually happening. What ICE is doing is, they're not going after the violent criminals. They've criminalized everyone who's here is undocumented. And so
Right.
he's really guaranteed no safety for people that actually had lived and contributed in his community as
Correct.
during his term as mayor. And he doesn't acknowledge that the racial profiling that comes along with this of,
Boom.
hey, hey, you don't speak English very well. Let me see your papers. That's racial profiling, right? Let me see your ID, right? And so that's the thing that this mayor doesn't care about. That's the thing he doesn't acknowledge. And so, anyways, like I said, we're coming after him.
Got to get him out. Got to get him out, folks.
Yeah, and he's dumber than the doorknob. Like
Now
the mayor
that's
pro tem,
disrespectful to doorknobs,
I,
Ron. Do not. Okay, I know some very smart doorknobs.
Mayor pro
Okay.
tem, he's his helper, and he's the one that actually, gives him the information that he needs. So it's
They
kind of
both have very like meaty necks. I think
well,
that's
they
a
look like twins. They dress the
a
same too.
MAGA. It's a MAGA thing. Like if your neck is wider than your ears, you kind of have this red kind of like, oh, you kind of got Leonard Skinner like always going in the back of your head like Sweet Home Alabama stuff. Like that is who you are. These guys are. But no, but we're getting involved with some folks. We're helping a group off the ground. Immigrants from Monroe. And again, we're trying to get folks out there. So we're going to try to start scheduling meetings, so we can start meeting with people, so they can feel like we have a place to connect and start building a community, start finding the Latino leadership and Hispanic leadership in Union County, because it's very important to me because my freedom and your freedom are all intertwined with their freedom because we are all here and we are all hopefully subjected to the same privileges, protections, and immunities under the U.S. Constitution that the most mediocre white man is. That is the goal, is to make it even, Steven, as the Constitution is supposed to say, not just for those who are the privileged few that Robert Burns wants to uphold.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
um,
So the another thing, local North Carolina election board. This is
yes,
quick story here, but all
yep,
Friday went to the Supreme Court, and they basically solidified the fact that control of the Board of Elections in North Carolina will go to the Republicans in a 3-2 favor. So the state auditor is now in control. They've moved that out of the governor no longer has the power to replace. It's under the state auditor. The one seat that Republicans won at the state level in North Carolina, the previous House and Senate rushed in to change the rules before they left in January to give the power to the state to the auditor. So what this means is that I would not count on free and fair elections in North Carolina in 2025 or 2026 or beyond. So we need to keep a laser eye on what they're actually doing and the moves they're making. I imagine they're going to make it harder to vote in a number of ways. They're going to make it harder to register. They're going to. We know the Republican Party, Republicans to be cheaters. I don't know these people in the North Carolina Board of Elections, but what I've seen in other states and what people are willing to try at the county level, the state level, I would say it'd be good to be hyper vigilant because this is going to be hyper partisan.
yeah. We should probably get Jessica Holmes on. She was the most recent Democratic auditor. She was appointed by Roy Cooper, and she ran this past cycle and lost to the Republican. But just kind of round out kind of how this all happened, right? She was poised to be, hopefully, she was hoping to be the next auditor, but we should probably reach out to her. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is just again, I always keep saying this is the ongoing January 6th, right? January 6th did not end on January 6th. It's all these state legislatures. It is what's happening in Florida, it's what's happening in Wisconsin. It's all these things. It's what's happening at our state house here locally. This is all the ongoing insurrection. So we got to keep an eye on it. And also, yes, we could put pressure on the elected officials. And I love people call your senators. And I'm trying not to be a hater, but like that's not working. Clearly, it's not working. They already have the power. We're trying to talk emotions. We're trying to talk sentiments and feelings. You have to use their language and talk power. And what I mean by that is you got to start putting pressure on their voters. And the exact minute you're like, oh no, it's okay because Johnny down the street, who's my friend, he didn't take away the rights, or he didn't, allow Medicaid to not expand, but Johnny gave them the power to do so. And pressure doesn't mean, throwing a Molotov cocktail through his window, but it means like maybe don't go out to drinks with him. Maybe like or if you are going to have the drinks with him, you put pressure to his ass. Like, hey, dude, we can't be cool if you're going to keep supporting these people who are going to harm all of us. And maybe start having direct conversations with your husbands, because a lot of people, they are sleeping next to power and they are unwilling to try to bend it towards justice. So I just want to put that out there. All right. Now, moving on. National warning signs. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was recently in the Oval Office with Donald Jackass Trump, and he brought up the white supremacist claim, the apartheid of South Africa claim of white genocide. And we know what all this stuff means, right? That when you are so used to privilege, equality feels like at this point not even oppression, but goddamn genocide.
All right.
And this is what came up. And now, if you have the clip ready to go,
Yeah. Roll that clip.
I would
roll that
say if
clip,
there
producer.
was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, no.
Yeah, sure.
We
we
have,
will.
let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down, and just put this on, it's right behind you.
Famous last words of a
There's
woman.
nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa, occupy land.
Cyril Ramaphosa brought his best diplomatic self to this meeting, but nothing could have.
Yeah, so that was fun. Yeah, so we have Trump, and it's being bandied about in the media that, oh, it's an ambush, it's an ambush, it's an ambush. Listen, if y'all do you know who Cyril Ramaphosa is?
The only reason I knew who he was is because you enlightened me on a few episodes ago.
But do you know who he was?
Oh, who he was? No,
Like decades ago.
no.
So Cyril Ramaphosa, this man was a labor leader during the time of apartheid, and he was the one organizing strikes against the National Congress back then. So he looked the devil himself in the face. But we're talking about like these real racists. I'm not saying like the ones in America ain't real, but like he had to deal with the folks who were like, this is where the blacks can be and where the Afrikaners can be. And he was there with Mandela, like writing the speeches and stuff. Like when that all fell, he was there. Right now, of course, when apartheid fell, they needed a bourgeoisie class to maintain the general population. This is where they have the managerial class, and he is of that because he's a millionaire. But again, he was able to look white supremacy in its eyes and fight it and beat it. So Trump's up there kind of bloviating and rocking back and forth and like touching his knuckles of his baby hands. And like this man's like, look, he ain't sweating. He ain't sweating. He's like, look, man, look, at the end of the day, I got this gentleman over here the agricultural secretary, who was a part of the pro-apartheid side of the government, that ran against me. And if there was a white genocide, he wouldn't be here. He wouldn't be here. But Trump sitting there pulling up all these bullshit, articles that he have. There's pictures of body bags, but that's actually in the Democratic Republic of Congo, because in the minds of a white supremacist, Africa is one country. It's just one. It's just one giant blob. It's like, well, look at these. Look at these monkeys over there. Look what they do. They're all just violent. Look at them. Look at them. And it's like, dude, that's thousands of miles up. Because if you realize how big Africa is, you could fit 3 Americas in there.
Right.
So where that was like literally thousands and thousands of miles away in the DRC. But it doesn't matter because, as I said, pre-taping the show, this is how powerful white supremacy is. It doesn't matter if you show people plain evidence; people will not believe that. They are willing to consume and imbibe a lie with no contestation, and that's what Trump's doing right here in these photos.
Cyril could have pulled up photos of Cyril. Sorry, could have pulled up photos of Palestinian kids in the streets and asked him.
And don't forget, that's another reason why South Africa's in the crosshairs, because they bring the charges of genocide and crimes against humanity against Israel. So it's a double thing. It's Elon Musk's fever dream to try to get this white genocide shit going, and also it's on an international level that this was the first country that actually knows about what it's like to have an apartheid state, because that's how we know the word apartheid is through South Africa. They're like, hey, and Nelson Mandela himself said this is worse than South African apartheid, and this man was locked up in jail for 27 years. So if anybody can understand it, it's South Africa, brother.
Yeah, and he showed some crosses, and they were saying that this was a burial ground, and
Burial ground, yes.
it's not a burial ground. It was a memorial for people of all races and creeds and everything. From that there was a commemoration. It was
The crosses were white. The crosses were white, Ron. It
so.
was the white crosses.
I mean, we've already talked about this, and they've fast tracked it. There's actually there's about 36, or I saw about 36 coming to North Carolina of these Afrikaners, and they are being housed by a church organization who has housed Congolese, has housed Ukrainians, and all kinds of folks. And he said, it's a double standard what's happening here. He's like, I don't understand like how or why these people were fast tracked. I mean, he's placing them, but he's like, this is a double standard, and so they're going to be in the Raleigh area, I believe. So,
919, y'all about to feel it. Look, you know how bad off you got to feel, you got to be, and I think I said this last episode. You know how lazy you got to fucking be to be like the shoe bottom low. Like, hey, to be the most privileged minority in the world, probably next to American white people, is the idea that a country that you are 7% of the population but own 70% of the land, 64% of the boardrooms, 80% of industry, all the courts, the money still within it still has your likeness on it. And you're telling me I got to get out of here because I'm persecuted, and then you got to come over here and treat these Negroes here in this country because I'm not saying like we ain't the same over there, but like you got to treat us different. That shit ain't gonna fly over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, over here, excuse me. Because at the end of the day, you have access to a butler, you have access to a gardener, you have access to a chef, you have access to a driver, you have access to, and I think there's a fifth position you have access to as a South African, and they still have all white cities where it says it. Welcome to Orangia, an all white city. We're not even that racist here in America, where we still say shit like that. We're like, hey, this is an all white. We just kind of have it like, oh well, welcome to Weddington High School. That's kind of what we got here. But like that shit is like, if you can't make it there, and they had to get a job at damn McDonald's.
Yeah,
and dealing with Jerome and them, and that's gonna be a real problem.
So yeah, I don't know these people. I don't know who they brought in.
You don't know these people, Ron? How dare you?
So I'm not gonna prejudge wherever they came, whatever. But what I will say is, I have there was I don't know if you ever seen this video. Is this white man's from maybe a year ago, maybe even longer. But he had housed some South Africans, Afrikaners,
Yes.
who came to live with him. He
Yes.
helped them get a job. He put them in his house, and then they stole his
Yeah.
shit and like I'm trying to kick him out.
Is that the video where he's like driving
he was like,
he's like driving like this like kind of Ace Ventura
yeah,
style,
he was
like, he's
like,
like bouncing
I
around
was
like,
trying
oh,
to
I'm in
fuck
South Africa right now, picking up some folks done with the white genocide. Then it's like 2 years later, and he's like, no, they just stole $15,000 from me.
Yeah. So because he was really proud about what he was. There was kind of like a chronological. I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm like da da da, and they're being persecuted. And he's like, wait,
Sucks
but
to suck.
why aren't y'all working? He was like, wait,
Right.
why aren't y'all getting a job? So
He said he was pissed that like he asked them to cut the grass, and they were like, "Fuck you," and he was like, "What?" He's like, "Hey, dude, they're not used to working.
yeah, and they keep
They're
saying
not.
that these are farmers. They're not even farmers.
They're
These
not even
people. That's
farmers."
what I'm being
Hey,
told.
man. Again, folks, embrace it. Again, I'm not saying like it, but embrace it. Because once you embrace it, you can resist it. Once you're like, okay, this is what's happening. Okay, it's time for us to get organized and fight back against this shit. But anyway, it's a ridiculous story, and I'm so glad. And, again, the last thing I'll say about Cyril Ramaphosa was when he was checking Trump, and Trump was like, oh, there's all this stuff, and he doesn't understand. Cyril just it is cool as a fan. Leans over and says, "I wish I had a $400 million plan to give you."
And then Trump said, "I take it," and I wish he would
I
say,
take it.
I wish he would.
I'm open for business. My legs are wide open. Come on inside. Literally, that's what Trump's saying.
I
Come
w-
on in.
And I wish Ramaphosa would have said, "What do I get for that?" And Trump probably would have answered. He probably would have started saying what he would have got.
Whatever you want, baby.
I wish he
open
would
for-
have said
open
that.
for business.
I know he would have got caught up in that one. So, anyways,
Slurpity slurp slurp. And that's what I'm saying. Like, could you imagine people like Robert Burns are bootlickers to that type of guy? Like this guy he himself is open to whatever sort of prostration and prostitution. I mean, he's basically a $2 hoe himself, Donald Trump. And it's like you are kissing his ass. That's alpha, bro. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Anyway, we got one last story here tonight because we're getting close to getting to 1 hour, folks. We've been working at this. We're trying to get more sharp on this stuff.
two real quick. So I got
two stories.
We're gonna do the crypto dinner.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's finish with crypto. That's funny.
Okay. So then we got Harvard.
It's not funny. You'll have to keep from crying, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So we got Harvard.
A US judge has blocked the Trump administration's plans to stop Harvard University from enrolling foreign students. Earlier today, the Ivy League college filed a lawsuit against the government, saying the decision was a blatant violation of the US Constitution and that it would have a devastating effect on almost 7,000 international students. The university has been battling the Trump government over its refusal to scrap diversity programs and disband pro-Palestine demonstrations.
So, yeah, last week, Trump put out an executive order to basically saying that like if they can't actually admit foreign students if they don't abide by the request that Homeland Security was making. So basically, they're also trying to basically control Harvard and all these universities to say that they have a seat, that they can't do this, and all their Harvard.
What's wild is like out of all the colleges, like Harvard, that's what the great lawyers come out. Supposedly, the great lawyers supposed to come out. I mean, you also get like Ted Cruz and Ron DeSantis out of there. But like these folks are like, bro, we had a document written up from jump.
Yeah, so they wanted students' names and they want all this stuff, and they put it under the guise of anti-Semitism, any protesters and things like that. But really, what they want is control of higher education,
right?
And here's the thing: is that Harvard is in the United States of America has been pretty much where one of the main go-tos for international students across the world to receive
27% of the population is international.
Yeah, so this if I was a immigrant student on a student visa and I was going to Harvard, it would put a concern in my heart, right, that this is even being disputed. that I could lose my student visa, meaning that I'm going to either A, look for another college, or B, actually look for another college in another country. So, I think Oxford and I think other countries in the UK are now trying to recruit students, China. So all these things have like all these effects that, so that knowledge, I think they call it brain drain, like that's
Yep.
going away. But the Supreme Court or the federal court has ruled it against it for now. But yeah,
Yep.
this is another one of those.
They keep losing in court because it's illegal. And Harvard's like, you don't have the jurisdiction to do this shit. It's our First Amendment right, baby. Our First Amendment right. Y'all love talking about free speech and doing what the fuck you want until we don't do what you want. I try to remind people, Harvard is older than America itself. Harvard is older than America by like almost 150 years. And it is the wealthiest college in America. So there's a reason they're going after Harvard. Because if they can get the most powerful, the most wealthy, the oldest, a pillar of Americana and education and academia to capitulate, what does that mean for, the NC State? What does that mean for North Carolina A&T? What does that mean for FAMU? What does that mean for New College in Florida?
Right.
Right? Like, so that's why they are actually amplifying their pushback on this. Like, first of all, this is way out of y'all purview. And if y'all did stop the amount that you give to us, our endowment is insanely huge, which is a whole other problem. And I'm not caping for Harvard by any stretch, but this is one time where I'm like, okay, am I on the same side as Harvard in this? Yes. We have to get comfortable having allies, and even if it's just short-term allies against this fascist march, because the fascists always go for the academia. This is why they're trying to get rid of books. Hitler did the same thing. We cannot not see the trends.
Yeah. So okay, I found the one I was looking for. That's perfect. So yeah, and they're also coming after HBCUs, and it's not getting as much attention, but they are coming after
That's
HBCUs.
right.
They're defunding these colleges. They're already trying to weaken colleges across the board, but Harvard has the ability to fight it. Like you said,
That's right.
One of the top law schools, and also they have a huge.
I mean, you just say Harvard. People aren't like, "Where's Harvard? What's that about?"
So if they weren't going to, and we'll see if they continue to, stand up. My guess is at some point there will be some sort of agreement. That's my guess. I don't foresee them fighting to the death. But I'm not going to put my hopes into that.
No, I'm not. But I think what could happen is they'll like see you in court, and that will take years to litigate. So I think they'll just run the clock out.
Yeah. So one more story. There was
one more, y'all.
There was a crypto dinner, Trump's crypto dinner.
Cryptology.
So this man, Trump, also used to be against crypto. Then somebody must have told him that he can become a sustained billionaire for the first time in his life.
Right, you actually can be a real billionaire for the first time.
He can actually build his wealth, something he has not been able to actually do compared to other people who had a start that he did. And he is now the pro crypto, president. But what a lot of people didn't realize, well, even in the crypto space, was that he was going to create his own meme coin. He was going to start fleecing people, scamming people. I mean, I could see that a mile away, right? Whether he was investing in Bitcoin and all of these things, but then he was going to come out with his meme coin and he makes money off of every transaction. People were putting in money into this meme coin anonymously. This money goes around anonymously. And he's built 40% of his wealth has come after he's won office, mostly because of this meme coin, right? And so you had people who basically, if you were one of the top people who were the top owners of this meme coin, Trump, you would be invited to this White House dinner. I think one man showed up in a mask. Now
why would you show up? Now you showing up like a damn ICE agent. Now you must be afraid of something. You must be afraid of the people.
Yeah. So here he is. This is the man showing up with his mask on.
Look at this.
Seen.
You can't say America ain't a joke right now.
And unfortunately, it delegitimizes
I got beef.
in general.
look, I got beef with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, the Democrats. This type of shit would not be fucking happening if Kamala Harris would have won. Okay, this type of ridiculous, redonkulous nonsense wouldn't happen if Kamala Harris would have won.
And she also so crypto I think has a legitimate use. Certain currencies, right? But not these meme coins have absolutely no use other than like this Trump coin
it's money laundering.
It's basically
it's all speculative.
It's money laundering. But there's a few that have legs, and Harris would have supported regulation. So here's why it needed to be regulated. Here's why. Here's one reason why. But in order for it to be legitimate, it had to go through the scrutiny. But regardless, I think it's been.
It's all speculative. I mean, it's like, again, it's kind of like how we say we give that shit legitimacy, right? Like, for example, gold. Like, people only give gold legitimacy because people say that it's valuable.
Yeah. Well, this is
like, I mean, if it's just metal, it's just a metal, it's just an ore. And if it's just like how copper is, like, we could just say copper is more valuable than gold. But we don't. We say gold is the standard, right? So like, there's a level of like, it's the same shit here, and it's even less regulated to the point which you're making. But yeah, no, there's the guy. What's his name? Justin Sun, who had a case against him that was dropped in February for his I think illegal. He was doing something that I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me, but he donated the most to this dinner. I think it was a $38 million or something like that. Fact check me, folks, in the comments. It'd be great. Yeah, there you go, Justin Sun. And he absolutely had a front row. I don't know if you have a picture of the actual meal. The meal looked appetizing. If you have never seen food before, looked like it was made at least for the Stouffer's meal. A Salisbury steak, a boiled carrot, and some gravy on top. And that's $1 million a plate meal. And, it probably looks appetizing once the ketamine kicks in. So that is, that's what you get. And of course, you get to be in the presence of Donald Trump, who we know per his, when he was in his New York trial, farts on himself quite frequently and farts himself to sleep. So that is what you get in a crypto meal. And of course, Lamar Odom was shaking his ass up there as well, because, when stuff's not going well, look at this.
This is the actual plate. I wish I
had the man, I'm getting hungry again.
That looks like
put it back up. Put it back up.
Let me see if I can find it's on the president, or no, it's on the Trump plate.
Oh, I'm sure that has like the steak with the ketchup. Well done.
This looks like it could be the.
Oh, come on, folks. Tell me this don't look appetizing. You got, I said you got 3 steamed carrots, probably steamed it with someone's breath. You got some
steak
mashed potatoes
with his sauce on it, a well done steak with some Trump A1
some
steak
ketchup.
sauce.
They said he puts ketchup on the steaks, so he probably his has ketchup for sure. Heinz is the best. Heinz is the best. What's that white thing? What is that? A biscuit?
I thought it was a piece of cauliflower. It might be a scallop.
I don't know what that is. It could be mold.
What is it?
For all we know. What is that?
What is that? Oh no. What is that?
$1 million, folks. $1 million. $1 million doll hairs is what I want to pay for this shit. Okay, $1 million doll hairs.
So so there was a gentleman who was like, he was one of the top, like, I think he spent like half a million dollars to be there. And here's his
half a million. Oh, so he got it for the cheap.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this. Yeah, I'm gonna play.
Oh yeah, okay. I haven't seen.
Let's hear the experience.
72 on the Trump coin leaderboard. It cost me $480,000, and this is all I got at the event.
Pause it real quick.
They gave away.
Now this guy does look like a winner. I just want to say that he does look super, super cool. Okay, go ahead. Girls are probably flocking all over him.
Well, look at this hat though. Look at that hat.
I mean, come on, dog.
That's like, it looks like a sticker on the hat. Like,
look at his neck. He ain't got no chin. Look at that.
Pretty much everyone had 220 bags, and that's pretty much all I got.
I just got to the Trump dinner. Trump came, gave a speech for, I think, exactly 23 minutes. And then he left. His helicopter was right back there. Left pretty quickly. Didn't stay for the dinner. Maybe he'll come back. You never know. Anyway, the food's coming out now. I gotta go.
Oh, gotta get that food.
There's
guys don't
actually
know.
part 2. So let me see how to.
We have some news right now. The influencers who attend.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
Aaron Parnas. Oh, we got some news. That guy's dead. What? Whoa! What happened?
He says breaking news about 10 times a day. I thought there was a rest of that video, but he was like, so
I don't miss anymore.
we got to tour the White House, but he wasn't there, and he's like, well, you saw, he said he just left in a helicopter. Maybe he'll be back, but dinner's ready.
Because it's all transactional with Trump, right? And losers like that who clearly haven't been touched by a woman in his entire life don't understand that, like, you look really lame, you look really corny going up to the leaderboard like, this is me right here, number 72. Like, dude,
so
you really cannot read the room. Like, you have no self-awareness.
So it was filet mignon, and it had some nasty ass sauce on it. If you get sauce on your steak, steak's probably trash, or your taste buds are trash. But
filet mignon don't mean it's good.
Anyways, you don't need steak sauce on most steaks. There's sometimes you can put a little sauce, but that sauce it looked like a little Salisbury steak sauce.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Stouffer's.
It's not something you would expect at a high end restaurant, but you were at Trump. It's pretty much
your Trump hotel. Was it Trump hotel? Or was it at the White House? It was at the White House, right?
No. What is it? What do you call it? White House West? White House. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Trump.
Okay.
Yeah. Wasn't
either way?
I guess it was at White House, but like
either way,
it wasn't the White House because they went on a tour but they put just Trump plates on it and everything.
You couldn't catch me in that motherfucker.
Yeah, you got to be. They thought they were gonna meet him or something. It's like that thing. Where
why? Like,
would you rather?
This is like, again, going back to how pathetic these men are, because it's always men. Be very clear about that. It's always men, and these men who, in their minds, they got the Lamborghini and all these material things that are supposedly make themselves like these leaders and alpha males, and it's so not real. It's like, dude, like, you look like such a like, bro, you ain't got no backbone, dog. And I would be embarrassed to be you. But the thing is, if you get a bunch of other embarrassing people around who have no self-awareness, then you have a throng of fascist losers who are willing to do the bidding. Mayor Burns would have been, he probably would have came on himself about 8 times. He would have gave you your lobster bisque.
If he had the money, he would have certainly been there, giving up $500,000 just to be there.
No question. So
yeah,
but
that's
so we see corruption right out in the open, folks. Right out in the open. That is the point of that meeting. It is right. And then they asked, was it Caroline Levitt about it, or someone about it? I do forget who. And they said, well, that's in his private capacity. This is at the fucking White House. We pay for that shit. We pay to maintain. We pay his salary. We pay the groundskeeper. That is our building. You have no private entity once you become the president. That is a job that is serving the people. That is not. You are not a king. And again, this is why I say it is not just about Trump. It is about those who vote for Trump. It is about those who empower Trump. It is about those who embolden Trump. It is those who run cover for Trump. It is the Supreme Court. It is the state legislatures. It is all of this. We are fighting against that system. He is just the symptom. He's just the rot, the titular rot of that spear. And I would not want to have that nasty ass steak or that, I don't know, that cordyceps growing. I don't know what the hell that biscuit was. Ugh. For $1 million. No, you can go to damn Chili's to get a better plate than that. You like Chili's?
You go to Denny's. You go to Denny's and get a better plate. That looked like a
plate. He would fit right in a Denny's. Denny's would be like, oh, we hate them N-words too. He'd be like, oh, this is great. I hate the N-words too.
But you asked about Chili's. Chili's is I could do Chili's from time to time. I could do Fridays from time to time. Rest in peace.
I haven't done
Fridays.
Chili's in years.
Rest in peace, Fridays. Fridays is almost gone. Love the Jack Daniels chicken strips, Jack Daniels burger. But
my wife loved them things. She loved them things.
One time my wife had never. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What did your wife? What does she love about Chili's?
No,
tell me about her.
We went to Valentine's Day at Red Lobster once because she never had Red Lobster. I love the biscuits, but Red Lobster's.
Come on now.
I don't like seafood, but I love the biscuits.
That's black law.
Love the salad. Love the biscuits. But what were you gonna say?
I don't know. I'm just
about to say something
about biscuits.
Your wife and Chili's.
She loves them chili. She loves the Jack Daniels fingers. And I said, man, you basic. That's why I love you. No, I'm joking. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So, folks, hopefully you cooked yourself a meal tonight. Is better than the Trump crypto dinner meal because that looks scrumptious.
If you didn't,
And
just
if
go get it at the store. Stouffer's.
or go your
Pop it in the
trash. I'm
microwave.
sure that's probably just as good, your trash. Or if your dog vomited, you probably eat that too. Either way, folks, this was a great episode again, Ron. This is our
Shortest episode. I
hour
think it's our
15.
shortest
We're getting
episode. We
better,
did it.
baby. We're getting better. Hey.
We did it.
Please like, share, and subscribe. We're gonna get better saying that again at the top. If you made this far, please make sure you're telling folks. We're working to get better. We appreciate your feedback. We appreciate the warm response we're getting from our viewership. We appreciate all the ideas, and we're growing this thing. Ram and I are trying to build out even our team, and hopefully we can have some news about that coming up in the future as well. And we got some upcoming interviews that I think you folks will not want to miss. I'll once I get the invite out, I will talk about that on our next episode. But an author of a book, We Refuse, Kelly Carter Jackson has confirmed she's been on ABC, CBS, mainstream podcast, Majority Report, Mehdi Hassan, and she has confirmed to join us to talk about her book, We Refuse. And I read that book, loved it. In fact, there's a whole section, ironically, she has dedicated to Monroe, North Carolina. So random. So can't wait to have her on. She'll be on June 15th. Fingers crossed. If not, don't hold me to it. By the way, that's what we're going in that direction. We doing things, baby. We doing things, baby. We doing things.
Don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, share, whatever. All the good stuff. Probably should have said at the beginning, but if you're still listening,
we're working at it.
Show us some love.
This is why we need a producer to say, this is how it needs to go. Wink.
All right, now. Everyone, enjoy your Memorial Day.
Please.
And, we will have a show on Thursday this week. So we will be.
You seem very burdened by that, Ron. But, and we will have a show on Thursday. God damn. All right, well, fuck you too, Ron. Anyway, no. Please, yes, enjoy your time off. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the holiday. Decorations Day again started. Memorial Day started by the enslaved to remember those who fought in the Civil War, both the Confederacy and the Union, and then they gave their bodies proper burials. Again, Black folks, we are the culture. Folks probably didn't know that, but yeah, Memorial Day started by the actual recently enslaved. So yeah, please enjoy yourself, folks. Throw something on the Barbie, and have some fun. So we'll see y'all on the next time, and we will see y'all on Thursday, and we will talk to you soon. I'm your co-host, Peyron Baxter.
I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval. Peace out.
Peace.